Hello and welcome as we sail into my fourth episode on the adventurous MV Sagamore. And what a day it was. As we get closer to the States, as we sail across this big Atlantic Ocean, we start rolling back our clocks to get back to the time zone back in the States. And when I first got on board for this trip, we were 6 hours ahead of the States, and now we roll the clocks back. And we rolled the clocks back an hour tonight, and we're still 1 hour ahead of the States. So I did put in a 13-hour shift today to work that extra hour. It was a long day, but that doesn't mean that we can't have fun. So why don't we go ahead and look to see if we can win some more money this week with our weekly lottery ticket scratch-off. What do you think? Think this could be 3 in a row? We can only hope. And it has happened. I've gotten 4 in a row, one right after the other. So here we go. We got the next ticket, number 26. Got my special coin here, get rich or die scratching, and we'll go ahead and get started. We're going to start with the bonuses as usual. Let's see. Maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe one of these tickets will have a bonus winner, which would be very nice, especially if it's the $500 one. Well, we didn't get any lucky with the bonuses, so let's go ahead and scratch the winning numbers and jump into downstairs. Alright, let's take a look. 30, 60, and 70, so we got some 10s digits there, so let's see what we get. 39, nope. 23, no. 37, well, not quite. 16, well, we had 17, almost there. 27, well, we had 67 and 17 and 47. Sometimes they give you those teaser numbers. 31, nope. Niner. Negative. 13, that's lucky, right? Let's keep going. 18, 16 and 18, right around that 17. But that's okay. I've gotten teaser numbers before all the way to the end just to win, so let's hope we get a repeat. 62, nope. 43, 44, and 34. Reverse the numbers. What is that, 3? Nope, no singles. 26, nope, not quite. 32, nope, no singles. 49, nope. 40, not too bad. We had 30, 60, and 70. 29, nope. Well, we're doing alright. 21, still got 10 more numbers to go. Let's see. 66, nope. We had 67 and 68. And there's 69. Now that is a teaser if I ever saw one. 67, 68 winning numbers and 70. And we get 66, 69 right next to each other. How about that? 36. Nope. 46. Not quite. 19. Nope. Well, down to our last 5. Will it come down to the clutch corner? We shall see. 12, and at this rate it kind of is looking like it. 63, nope. And that's 11, so let's go ahead and do the clutch corner. See what our potential prize is for today. It looks like another 50 if it is. And I have one in the clutch corner before, and we got the Bumpin' Uglies. Unbelievable. Well, this one's a bust, but we had fun, and we still got two nice winners on our hand. Hopefully at least two more as we go through the weeks. So, all right. So, let's go ahead and jump into today's topics. Correct the camera, and here we go. All right, and we are back, and let's jump right into it. I have some show and tell to show you guys today. Just some standard equipment that comes on the job for anybody sailing on board any of these ships. We got a very exciting life jacket. There are different designs and types, but I believe this is a type 1, if I'm not mistaken. And these are kind of like in a square, rectangular type shape, and they go around your head, and you strap yourselves in, and it comes with a whistle for attracting attention if you end up in the water, and it also has a water activated light to also further attract attention, and it has little reflectors or receptacles that you see right here, and that'll also shine off the light and make you visible towards anybody searching for you. And I'm not going to go ahead and put this on, but for one thing, it's uncomfortable. I prefer one of the different types, which is actually more like a life vest that goes over your chest and your back. They both serve the same purpose, but for one of these that go around your neck, if it has the design and capability of righting you in the water and keeping your head out of the water, should you be wearing one of these and get knocked out as you're abandoning the ship, or as the ship takes a roll and you fall overboard and you get knocked out. If you are face down in the water, this will get your head out of the water. So that's why they give you mostly these designs, because they're fairly common, and they will keep you afloat and prevent you from drowning. So they're actually very useful. And another reason why I wouldn't want to wear this is because during school I was told that you're actually not supposed to put these on inside the vessel. Now, why is that? Well, if the vessel is sinking and you need to abandon ship, and you have one of these on as you're trying to exit the ship to get outside to the life rafts or lifeboats, if you enter a space that's flooded with water and you try to go under the water to reach a door or a passageway, this will prevent you from getting there. And as the space fills up, you'll fill up with the space, and you'll drown. You won't be able to get out. But also, if you take off your vest to abandon it and then get out, you don't have your life raft, and you can drown out there in the ocean. So it's actually not advisable to wear these while inside the ship in the event of an emergency or casualty. So we'll set that aside for right now. And this other thing that is issued to all seafarers when they board a vessel, again, all these are standard items, and they're for life-saving equipment, is the immersion suit, also known as the Gumby suit. These will save your life in the event that you end up in the water and need to survive, either because of the ship had to be abandoned for whatever reason, or you fell overboard, or you may be actually attempting a rescue. But these aren't really used for rescuing, but you can still wear one. It's advisable to put it on while you're still on the ship or on dry area. You can also put them on in the water, but it's advisable to put them on when you're still on the ship. And it's actually easiest to put them on when by laying them flat out on the ground and then sitting down in it, and then putting in your legs, and then putting the rest of the suit over your shoulders and then over your head, and then zipping it all the way up. And then it's useful in that it will protect you from the cold of the water, and it allows you to float. And most immersion suits are red, but I think a lot of them are starting to turn to orange, because I was told a long time ago that orange is like the first color that the human eye will detect if given a array of colors to look at. It's one of the reasons why down in the main engine, one of our gauges, the surrounding area of the gauge is painted orange that I've noticed on some ships, because that's the first gauge you want to look at. And that's usually the main engine lube oil pressure, which is very critical for engine operations. And I think they're making these immersion suits into the color orange now. So they're easily more detectable by search parties when you're out in the water after a casualty, if you had to abandon ship. So for fun, how about we go ahead and turn it on, or try it on? We'll give it a go, shall we? Okay, so as you can see, got the Gumby suit, the emergency suit on with the Penguin hands, and yeah, you're supposed to zip yourself up like this and strap yourself in, and this design actually doesn't have a back flotation on it, but other designs do, and I'm gonna go ahead and unzip this so you can hear me a little better. So this is the immersion suit. This will save your life out at sea, and it's orange. Again, I'm used to the red ones when I go through training in school. But just a few interesting facts about these. They're actually designed, it looks kind of tight on me right now, it kind of is, but they're actually designed to be a little bit bigger. So when you get in the water, it will actually force all the air out, and it'll actually conform and fit to you as you're in the water. And when you're in the water, try to stand out, obviously, for rescue and search parties, and be able to swim or do the backstroke to reach other people and position yourselves in a circle, because you'll be a bigger target and be able to be identified quicker when being rescued. And also, by being in a circle, the center of you is useful for keeping others afloat who may not have an immersion suit, or who may be injured or sick or unconscious, and need additional support and flotation. Plus, by being in a circle, that pool of water in you will actually start to warm up a little bit because of all the body heat that we generate. And also, with these immersion suits, how many times do you think in real life situations that these are to be used and reused? And the answer is 0. These are only designed for only one-time use, one-time real-life use. After that, you gotta scrap it or donate it to a university for training purposes. The reason for that being, these are only designed for one use, to save one's life out at sea, and there can be rips or tears or damage done to the suit, and it cannot be reused, because you run the risk of it being used improperly or it not being able to serve its purpose, and it could endanger your life. So again, it has a whistle, it has reflective tape or indications on it, and it will float and protect you from the cold, and it will save your life. So let me go ahead and take this off, and we'll continue with some fun nautical terms. All right. Boy, I wish I could change clothes that quick in real life. Just when we're going through training for that immersion suit, it's advised that you try to get it on in about 1 to 2 minutes. Again, it is very tough, especially with rough sea conditions or if you're in the water, but you want to try and do that quickly, so any cold or elements or conditions of the ship don't try to impair you or increase the risk of you losing your life in those kind of situations. SOLAS goes over all this, and SOLAS is safety of life at sea, and that's part of why they give you this equipment, and that's why you receive training at the schools and prior to boarding a vessel. But let's go over some nautical terms. I think this will be kind of fun and interesting. Well, for one thing, to start, the floor is referred to as the deck. And you have many different level decks as you go up and down the ship. So on some ships, any deck above the main deck, which is usually the deck where everybody disembarks or boards the ship at the gangway. If it's above that deck, then they call it the O1 deck or the O1 level. Or if it's below the main deck, it's just 1, 2, 3, 4 down. And then if it's above, it's O1, O2, O3, O4. And then the ceiling is the overhead. And then port and starboard, everybody knows that. Port is left and starboard is right. And I read some books about those terms. And actually, port actually used to be called larboard. But they changed it to port because it's usually that side of the ship that pulls into port. But also because when people are communicating, they didn't want to risk the communication to be misunderstood as larboard or starboard because they sound very similar. And I believe starboard got its name because when a ship is docked in port on the left side, on the right side, it's aimed towards like the stars, the sky at night. And it's just a board of stars, so starboard, that's the right side. But do you know the colors that are associated with left and right, or port and starboard on a ship? An easy way to remember is that port has few letters and red has a few letters. So port side, left side is red. And then green has more letters and starboard has more letters. So green, right, starboard. And then you have the midships of a ship, which is center line. And that is also denoted by a color, which is usually white. Passageways, or the hallways are called passageways. And we also have like a doctor's office or a medical office or a hospital on board a ship. When I was going through school, that was called the binnacle. And the binnacle is a device that manages a compass up on the bridge. And the only reason doctors or the hospital is referred to as the binnacle is because back then when they take muster of the ship, of everybody on board, all those who were sick or had to go to the hospital, their name was written out on a separate list and it was placed on the binnacle for the captain or the mate on watch to review. And I think that just that association is what caused the hospital on board a ship to be referred to as the binnacle. And then, the water fountain, that could also be called the bubbler or the scuttlebutt. And I actually referred to it as the scuttlebutt just a few days ago. And my supervisor, the first assistant engineer, just stared at me like I had lobsters crawling out of my ears. And he's like, "What did you say?" And I said, "Gotta change out the filter for the scuttlebutt." And he's like, "Wow, you salty son of a," and you know the rest. So a brush is also called a foxtail, but I think that's universal. I think land applications call it that too, not just shipboard. But at least that's the first time I've heard of a brush being called a foxtail, which was when I was on board a ship. And then the bed is the rack, obviously. A door is a hatch. Never block the hatch. Stairs, also referred to as a ladder well. You got your bow and your stern, which is the front of the ship and back of the ship. And then forward and aft is the orientation that we refer to on the ship. And the cafeteria is called the mess hall. I read that a group of officers is called a mess, so that's why they call it a mess hall. There you go, right? And the kitchen is called the galley, where they cook the food, but the part of the kitchen where they do the dishwashing and have all the cleaning equipment, that's called the scullery. And that's about it for nautical terms for now. I'm sure I'll think of more, as time goes on, but I think that's a good list to go over. Also, just going back to survival at sea, because we have a lifeboat and a rescue boat and life rafts on board. So you're not just fending for yourself in the water by wearing an immersion suit or a life jacket or a life vest. You can get in a lifeboat, which we have a gravity propelled lifeboat on board the ship here, which is just literally just hanging onto the ship by like a ledge. So you would just use a hydraulic crank it, and it would just lift up off this ledge and then just slide down into the water. And you'd have to really strap yourself in so you don't get hurt from the impact. But the reason for that is for a quick escape from the ship because of a fire or whatever other casualty that would cause one to abandon the ship. And one of the things that I've been advised by other chief mates on board other ships is to have like a backpack ready, filled with water, food, medicine, other supplies that you think you would need to help with your survival in the event that you actually had to abandon ship. Because when you have to abandon ship, you got to go right away. You can't run to your room and get your clothes, although that would be helpful, or get your laptop or your personal possessions like that. You have to think survival. You have to leave all that stuff behind, unfortunately. But you may only have like seconds to grab your immersion suit, your life jacket, and one or two other things. And that's why you have a backpack ready to go, so you can just grab it and get out and get to your abandoned ship station. And whatever food and water that you bring on board to a lifeboat with everybody else on the ship, none of that belongs to you, believe it or not. You actually hand that, whatever you bring, to whoever's in charge of that lifeboat based on the station bill. And they will distribute all of that to everybody on board the lifeboat. We share all our supplies because it's a team effort. We all try to survive the incident, and that's just the right thing to do. So going over, if you recall, this tool is actually more useful than it looks. I've been using it a lot lately, but you know how it has like so many different names. It could be a Ford wrench, a monkey wrench, a pipe wrench, a Stilson wrench. There are lots of unique and different names for equipment on board a ship, like the Wilden pump, for example. I've only ever known and referred to it as a Wilden pump, but I've heard it been called like 10 different things. I've heard it called a diaphragm pump because that is essentially the main internals that move the fluid being pumped through it. It's also been called a whiz bang because that's what it sounds like when it's actually running. It's also called a sandpiper because I guess it sounds like sandpaper when the air is actuating the pump. It also a pneumatic pump because the air actuates it and moves the fluid through it. And I was on one ship over in Alaska, and they had a Wilden pump mounted on a movable tank. So if we had to pump out a small amount of fluid from another tank or another source into this tank, we could, and it was movable and portable. And for some reason, they called it the hot dog stand, which I thought was pretty cool because they also wrote like products that you would find at a hot dog stand on it and prices that would never fly today. Like there was a hot dog for only 80 cents, and then there's a 12-ounce beer for 50 cents, and a bottle of water was like $1, and a bag of chips was like $0.25. It's just hilarious. You'll never see prices like that again anywhere in the world, I don't think. But anyway, going on, I was also told of a new name for snap rings, or they're also called retaining rings. But actually, it was on my last trip that I learned this. My chief engineer called it a circlip, and I had to pause for like almost a minute and think, what's he talking about? And the sir I thought was SIR, but no, he meant CIR for circular clip, and that is a snap ring or a retaining ring. And that's when I was like, oh, that's what it was. So you learn new terms as you go and enjoy life on a vessel. And speaking of terms, or rather positions on a ship, the deck department has mates, because the engineering department has engineers, the deck department has mates. They have a third mate, second mate, a navigator, a chief mate, and a captain. That's usually around the officers for the deck department. And I remember doing this to someone in school. And ever since then, I've been doing it on every ship that I go to. Just in a very bad Australian accent, I would say, "Good day, mate." And the first time I did it when I was in school on the training ship, it really upset one of the mates. Like, he got really angry for like no reason, and he just started yelling at me. And I was like, I'm just, making a joke, just having some fun. And but he was really upset. I don't know why. But since then, I've been saying it to all the mates that I come to on board these ships, and a lot of them don't even give me a reaction. They just say, hello. They wish me a greeting back. But some of them have laughed. Some of them have given me a weird look. But I just have fun with it. It's just something I do on board these ships. So I think that'll do it for today. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you join me for my next episode. Had a lot of fun tonight, and we'll be back in the States soon. I've been trying to film, during the day when it's light out. Outside the windows are sea travels, and I hope to post more of them because I think it's interesting and fascinating, at least for me. It may be boring to the layman on land, but believe it or not, people get paid pretty good money just to stare out the window and watch the ship move. Obviously not to hit other ships or ports or anything, but when you're crossing the Atlantic, you got a nice big wide open space pretty much, and you just look out the window and earn a good living. So thank you for joining me, and love, peace, hair grease. All right, I'll see you next time.